Good morning, St. Paul, Twin Cities, and surrounding neighborhoods. This is your Un-Bougie foodie, Wesley Wright. Oh, man, it's a frigid Saturday. Yeah, I had to remind myself, dress for the weather, not for fashion. Not that I'm all fashion forward, but I'm just saying that, yeah, it's cold out there. It's really cold. No, I think the last time I checked, it was like negative 13 or something, and that's supposed to be our our low, or yeah. Anyway, it's very cold. Just remember that. So make sure you're bundling up. But thank you so much for tuning in. This is the last of my show for the year. And I know other show hosts and DJs and so forth have already been talking about the end of the year. It's been an exciting year. Just things happening, and yeah, it's been lots of fun. Honestly. So I hope that right now you shall take a time to just kind of I might jump around a little bit because I feel like I need to reflect back on the year that I've had, places that I've gone to, and even friends that I've spoken with, and or guests that I've had on the show, that have just been supportive of this food adventure that I have been on and have invited you on as well. But first and foremost, let me invite you to call in, and if you want to comment on shows from the past, or even if you had a suggestion or whatnot, feel free to do so. I am here in the booth, 651-200-3479. Again, 651-200-3479. I can't do it like, the morning shows do it. 651-200-3479. No, it's me by myself, so I need a crew. But also, feel free to visit my Facebook page. You'll have an opportunity to see Facebook posts about places that I've gone to, or foods that I've enjoyed. Honestly, I'm gonna be just upfront. I've been behind schedule because of just really trying to stay up on, again, being honest, secular work as well as passion work. This is my passion work. So some of the posts have been not coming up as frequently, but I will rectify that. I really will. There are other, I guess, projects and so forth that I have that I'm interested in doing, and so I'm also working on that as well. And I want to bring that to you, audience and listeners. And so you'll definitely see more Facebook posts, as well as more information on the air that I'll be telling you and sharing with you. So again, check me out on Facebook if you would like to see, because I'm always going to be posting shots of food and dishes and so forth. Follow me on Instagram, which is _Un-Bougie foodie, and then Twitter. Like I always say, I'm not a ranter or raver or anything. Maybe I'll rave about food, or something that I've eaten. But of course, there's always going to be a picture or something. So it's going to be positive. It will be something that will be posted on Twitter. You'll also be able to find out when I upload a show. That is also shows up on Twitter as well. But then what I am really proud of also is that my website is also available. So please check that out as well, which is www.theunbougiefoodie.com. There you will find more information about just projects and things that I've done within, for certain communities and so forth. I needed to change that a little bit. There was some static. No. Okay, a little bit better. So, anyway, we again, that is a place where you will be able to see a gallery. I mean, just really a story or the adventures and so forth that I have. And I like to call them adventures because I want to make it as though you're there with me. I want to make it like you're there with me. So, you'll see stories or articles that I've written, community radio, a community newspaper. Wow. Community newspaper. Articles that I've written that hopefully will catch your attention, and insightful information that you'll find. You could find that under a blog area. And again, it's a website that's very intuitive. You'll go there and be able to find out a little bit of history about myself, the Un-Bougie foodie. So again, that website, www.theunbougiefoodie.com. I was about to say that it's open 24 hours. Anyway, I want to, it's kind of cold, like I mentioned, and there was something that I talked about. Oh, I don't know what's happening. There is something that I talked about, or I posted on my Facebook page. It was more of a poll. I wanted to kind of get a consensus on what people thought. What people thought on, as funny as it might seem, cream of wheat or Malt-O-Meal. I didn't add in oatmeal because that's a little bit different. But cream of wheat or Malt-O-Meal, you gotta know. You just have to be the right person or know specifically about those two. If you're not familiar with them, I think you need to get familiar. But interestingly enough, that poll, it wasn't many that answered, but I appreciate those that did. I think it was like 20 or 25, but still, that's a great amount. It seemed like 53% were preferring cream of wheat. So I thought that was kind of quite interesting. I'm just going to put it out there. I like both of them. And I like oatmeal too, but I will just say that my sisters, and hopefully they will agree with me, they have crowned me the king of cream of wheat, or the man of Malt-O-Meal. Because I know how to. There's just something about adding the appropriate, the right ingredients to have either one of those. And I'm including oatmeal too, but specifically cream of wheat or Malt-O-Meal. I add all the bad stuff that you probably shouldn't, and I don't do it often. That's the thing. So I don't feel bad when I have it. Like a day like this, or even probably tomorrow or Monday, where I know it's going to be cold. I'm having either one of those: cream of wheat, Malt-O-Meal. Yeah, I have to actually run to the store. So anyway, but I do, the regular process that you follow in doing either one of them, and I'm a little ashamed, but I'm still going to tell you what I do to them. I add evaporated milk, which I think might be just a standard anyway. I definitely add butter. I also add condensed milk. Uh, I found that heavy cream is also pretty good. I don't do heavy cream a lot, but I do evaporated milk more than heavy cream. But the heavy cream adds a bit more thickness to it. And there's also a way that you really, so that it stays smooth, you need to make sure that you're stirring at the same time that you're actually pouring. So you have to know how to multitask. But that's just to make sure that, it stays, it doesn't have any type of lumps and whatnot. My secrets of doing cream of wheat or Malt-O-Meal. But anyway, you could see, yes, I do badness when it comes down to, yeah, I mean, cream of wheat or Malt-O-Meal. What is your guilty, I don't know, hot cereal pleasure? Please call in and give me your take on either cream of wheat, Malt-O-Meal, or any other hot cereal. It could be oatmeal as well, because I like to add raisins. I do everything that I do with the cream of wheat and Malt-O-Meal to the oatmeal. Yeah, I know. But I also add raisins. Yeah, I do that too. 651-200-3479. Again, feel free to give me a call and let me know what you think, or basically what you do personally about hot cereals. Hot cereals are it's just so much fun when you have them. I don't think people realize that on days like this, that's just kind of like what you kind of need to do, and just maybe have a good movie or binge watch. Okay, I'm going to steer because I'm bringing that up. Still talking about food, but I need to say that if you're a binge watcher, there are a number of different shows that are coming out that you might be interested in. Those of us that like Netflix, I'm gonna be watching Black Mirror. Totally off subject of food or whatever, but I'm just thinking of, I'm gonna be making cream of wheat or some type of hot cereal or something, and enjoying that for sure. So if you're not familiar, you definitely have a chance, if you would, of enjoying some really great television binge watching, but make some food along with it. I mean, that's the importance of having a food show. There's suggestions that you could offer and so forth. So that's that topic. um I wanted to, there was, I recently read an article this past weekend, and um, it was in, what was it in? I think it was under our article for, is it for Vice.com, under Munchies, but specifically, the title of the article was talking about, being a woman of color in the food world. Um, and I've talked about this in just on a higher level, um, and I even reached out to friends to even on air. If you recall last week, I asked if there was anyone that knew of any women that were in the workplace. I know that I was talking on a totally different subject, but here this one is talking about being a woman of color in the food world. So uh, the double bind of being a woman of color in the food world. So it's you're a woman and you're a person of color. Um, it's so important that we have more diversity in the culinary world, in the culinary realm. Um, I am I have not, aside from working at Wendy's twice in my life, um, the only other food related uh, experience that I've really had in reference to really being behind and preparing something for consumers is working at Godiva. So I was a chocolatier. Yeah, I've mentioned that many times before. Um, but being a woman of color and then being in the food industry or the culinary industry, not food, culinary industry, um, you don't see enough of that representation on both aspects. Um, and women are so creative, and the story, not the story, but when you think of certain cultures or you think of a woman just creating these wonderful dishes in at home or in the kitchen, and the creativity comes out in so many different ways, and that's just on the home front. Just think of when they're actually in a restaurant, or it might even be their own restaurant, but the creativity comes out even more so because they are always thinking of what how to make that dish either pleasing to the consumer. Um, she may know specifically how she learned how to make that dish and may find ways in which to enhance it or come up with a new dish or a new cuisine. And that we think of it could only be men that really come up with these ideas, and then there's a woman that follows up behind or whatnot. That's not always the case. I mean, there are women that are powerhouses in the culinary industry. Um, but going back to this um, article, it talks about a young woman by the name of Nadine Nelson. Um, she was interviewing a gentleman, um, you know, she was asking a question of him, and uh, the question that she asked was, how does one hold himself accountable for communities of color and vulnerable communities in regards to the food movement? And I believe that he was confused by that. I mean, there, of course, he didn't really answer the question, but it was something that made him a great talking point, and something that not needed, needs to be further researched and talked about. Um, you know, they were trying to figure out, what it was like to be a woman of color in the food world, especially in 2017. Um, oftentimes women of color, they're unseen or unheard in the industry, and then when they're not, they're they're dismissed as being just simply gatekeepers. Um, but they want to actually find themselves moving forward or progressing forward in this industry. Um, there are not a lot of resources that are available, and not many people truly put that investment and time into supporting those women, specifically again women of color, um, for to make those advancements or progress. And it's something that needs to be addressed even further, because it shouldn't just be one gender, or one ethnicity or nationality or whatever, if you would, that is dominating this food, the food world, the culinary world, the culinary realm. Um, there are a lot of restaurants that have women. They love to have that person in the restaurant because they're a good worker, or yeah, I know that she has good work ethic, or um, she can prepare things very well. But what about bringing them more to the forefront and showing the world basically, and consumers, that you know both on the standpoint of being a woman and a woman of color, they really can be rivals. That rival sounds bad. Um, a good complement to restaurants and to the culinary world, because rivals means like they're seriously fighting. And we're trying to be positive about that, but bringing it to a positive, hopefully a positive outlook. Um, but it shouldn't be that there would be any type of rivalry between a man and a woman. Each have their own, and everyone has their own way of presenting a dish, or coming up with a cuisine. Why is one more sought after, or given more credence than the other? And it may just be that a woman can, whatever cuisine or dish they might say, if they gave them two together and said, hey, I need both of you to, make this baked Alaska or some specific dish, uh, all accolades with, oh, the taste is wonderful, and the presentation is beautiful, and we love um, the way that you work in the kitchen, and all accolades could possibly go to that woman. But for whatever reason, that man that did the same dish, and he may have gotten some type of accolades too as well, but for some reason or another, you see them leaning towards having that the male perspective. Um, I've often wondered about that. I don't really. That requires a bit of research, and I hope that um, I am able to find out more information and share that with you as my audience. Maybe even inviting others to have a conversation, either chefs or columnists that are interested in just having us sit down and discussing that, because there are certainly other uh, topics, if you would, that I just want to kind of like want to ask the question. I really feel like I want to reach out more and find out specifically about the diversity that is people say that we have it, or that they're looking about diversity and inclusion, but does it really happen? Does that Where is that? Are they we could only hear people talking about it and not really showing that true diversity and inclusion. Um, Along those same lines, there was another article that was written by uh, a, a columnist, a writer. Her name is Mika Bose. She is a writer for the Growler magazine, and basically asked the question, why so white? And you could actually find this article, in their most recent Growler. Um, but online, if you want to visit that, it's growlermag.com. Um, Why So White? Finding Black Leadership in the Twin Cities Food and Beverage Industry. Um, and she interviewed a number of, um, and in this case, we're still sticking with diversity and inclusion, just chefs, or those that are, I don't say professional chefs in their own right, but are people of color. And why is it that we're not seeing these people of color um, really in the forefront? Even more so. We see so many different, if you would, other culinary professionals that are non persons of color. Uh, and she talked about that. She had the conversation with them, and one specific um, one specific chef um, made mention of roadblocks and the representation for the industry, and specifically for the Twin Cities. Jared Class, he is a prominent culinary chef with a number of different pop-ups. If you've not been familiar, classic pop-ups is what he calls them. Classics pop-up, I should say. My correction. But he goes on to say that I thought I was cooking, but he liked cooking, but he liked hospitality. The feeling you get when you give someone a nice meal and you could change their mood or how they feel. And that's what he does in his pop-ups. He has been with Crave. It's a Twin Cities-based restaurant chain for about 9 years. He's worked his way up to being a regional chef. And then, of course, I like how it says she describes that in his free time, he has the operation that I mentioned, which is Classics Pop-Up, where he offers soul food inspired dishes that's always on his menu. But the questions that they were asking, why is it that it's difficult to bring attention to people of color? And he used a line, or she makes reference of a quote: if you don't come from one of these trees, it's difficult to get the attention of the dining public. People can be complacent about their dining choices and unmotivated to actually look beyond what they feel is their own comfort zone. So black-owned restaurants, they tend to be off the beaten path sometimes, and so it makes it very difficult for people to gain their attention, because so many are just so used to being in a standard comfort zone. And you know, that's interesting to mention, um, because when you just talk about different cuisines, um, and I have to talk about my own, my parents. You mentioned something like oxtail or cowfoot soup or something of that nature. The you know I see eyes open really wide, or many of my friends, they're like, really, cowfoot soup? What exactly is that? Or oxtail? I don't. Ugh. How do you eat that? It scares them. And these are being, unless it's really given some like national, or maybe even a celebrity comes into to maybe that restaurant, is the only time that they'll get some type of real draw from those that are not of that same ethnicity, if you would, or nationality. Um, and and I only say that because there are certain celebrity chefs that would come into town or go to a specific place, and it's only because of that reason that that person has gone to you know have some oxtail at a specific restaurant, or had a specific dish. Will others uh, you know then be drawn to go there because they're thinking, well, wow, that chef went there, and we should check that out. And the restaurant could have been there for in the community for years, for quite some time. So my show is, yeah, I just thought I haven't really been talking about the different food places, but these I guess are things that have just been coming up on my head, and I just really wanted to share them. Back on that article though, on black leadership, why so white. There was another uh, person that the columnist Mika Bose interviewed, and that's Lachelle Cunningham. She is the executive chef, specifically at Breaking Bread, and that's in North Minneapolis. So if you are familiar with Appetite for Change, I love that. They're a nonprofit group as well. Um, but she has been the executive chef at Breaking Bread, and she mentioned that there are successful black restaurants, just not in Minnesota. There aren't any sit-down ones, no full service. Um, you know, you have to ask the question, why is that? Um, so coming up with an idea to offer food that is, one, healthy, because that is one of the things that they do concentrate on at Breaking Bread, is working with the nonprofit organizations and the community, showing them that you don't have to have um, McDonald's each and every time, or there are other options that you can choose, or that are available to you. Um, but why is it that it's not even a place that's run by, specifically by a restaurant itself? It's ran by a nonprofit. But again, that nonprofit they're creating a path that gives persons like uh, Miss Lachelle Cunningham, who is a black culinary professional, to enjoy that landscape, if you would, or the having the platform to be able to share her ideas as a person of color, and also being a woman, like what we started off our conversation. I think that that's something that needs to be touched on a grander scale. And in the upcoming year, again, I hope you take the opportunity to continue to follow the show, because I really think that I have some exciting projects and topics that I want to share with you, and it will start to really involve more so topics such as this, ones that are uh, moving to making a community think about the different types of foods. Yes, of course, I'm still going to talk about places that we've gone, or foods that we could eat and so forth. That's not never going to be something that I'm going to move away from. Um, but still, it's, again, I hope that you continue to follow us along basically on this journey, um, with other topics that are upcoming. You'll find out still more places where you could enjoy really great food, recipes, topics that are thought provoking, that we're dealing with in our community. Yeah, this show, again, just as a reminder, I know that we are coming to the end of the year. Um, this show is about food, but not just about going out, really spending the money or spending your assets on always going out for food. I mean, it covers a wide variety. Encouraging people to cook at home, encouraging family time. Um, but again, it covers so many different areas. Going to farmers markets, all of that involving the type of foods that we eat. Um, we're looking more into more topics about food injustice and equality. And so, again, I have to say thank you all very much for being the audience that you have been, being supportive, visiting the new website, definitely for your comments and supports throughout the year, the likes, the interest in the different topics. Um, it's it's gonna be. I have to say, I have to promise that it is going to be an exciting year. 2018. I really want to make sure that what I'm bringing to you all is exciting, and also thought provoking too, uh, and fun, because I think the last few weeks I have been talking on really somber subjects, but sometimes though those are subjects or times where you feel that you need to actually have some type of voice, or use your platform to talk on a specific subject, even though I personally have not been faced with certain things, or but still recognizing that there are scenarios that go on within our community, or within the topics that I talk about here on the show. At least speaking to them, hopefully it gives people an idea that we are aware. We are, I don't want to say the cliche, but in the know with certain things, and are bringing that to the community. So it could be maybe a subject to talk about, or for them to recognize, and for people to have audience listeners, or readers of articles, to have their own voice and to share their thoughts, which again want to really encourage you, if you would like to share maybe a comment, suggestion, um, call me here, 651-200-3479. Again, 651-200-3479. Yeah, I think I want to, we talked a little bit about, Greg, Mr. Class. And there is going to be, no. There's going to be, I've got to talk about Soul Bowl. There's going to be another one. And it's coming up in the month of January. So, I mean, that's literally around the corner. If you have not gone to Soul Bowl before, yeah, you need to go. You definitely need to go. And I want to say that, I don't think I've seen the menu yet. I don't think, unless they're going to have the same menu, I don't know. Maybe they're going to bring something different. Not sure. Haven't seen the menu yet. But basically, this is an event. This is the Classics Soul Bowl. And it's going to be on Saturday, January 6th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then Sunday, January 7th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. And it's going to be neo soul food. It's being described again as being created for the urban millennial. It's really for anyone, really. So if you've not had opportunity, if you missed it out the last time or the other times, perhaps, I think this might be I'm not sure. He's had it other times before. I just know that the last time that I went, it was in November. So, I enjoyed the food. I really did. But it's going to be customizable, convenient soul food, comfort food. And Jared Class, he really does take all of the. He's West Indian, so he's going to take that those different dishes and put an urban twist on it. And because of his background, his culture, he's going to be adding some unique flavors along with it. So again, where is that going to be located? I have to find out. There is the address. So if you're wondering where that's going to be held, that is going to be at the Elite Catering and Sunnyside Cafe, which is at 1825 Glenwood Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota 55405. Once again, that is going to be 2 dates, January 6th, and that will be from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and then January 7th, so Saturday and Sunday. January 7th, that Sunday, is from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Make sure you go and check that out. And I'm encouraging it. Just the last time that I went to that event, it was, we were sitting around and just talking and meeting people. The atmosphere, it really was just kind of like going to a family function. People, that you haven't met, but you're coming together to enjoy some really good food. At sitting at bigger tables and the communal seating and dining, that you're not sitting with someone not just sitting with someone that but you're sitting to meet other people as well. That's what I thought was really exciting and fun about that event. So I'm glad that he is, once again choosing to do it and offering um, a way for people to gather together and taste some really good food. Last time it did get sold out. I mean, I think some other friends, they went, um, and I think hopefully they won't go late. uh, but the food was really gone. So just make sure that you take out or you save those dates, January 6th, January 7th. You could either go on either of those days or both days. I know somebody that commented, it's like, I went both days. I'm like, wow. That was very supportive and really enjoyed the food both days. Yeah, that's something for you to keep on your schedule. So make sure you don't miss that. I have not had an opportunity to do Get Your Groupon for you all. And you're like, okay, well, dang, whatever happened to Get Your Groupon? No, it's not a matter of, we don't want to do it anymore. I want to bring you deals, or not bring you deals, but notify you of deals of ones that, really are going to be good. That's the only way that I know how to put it, because really, to just simply say, throw out Groupons constantly, it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to make sure that we check first, and then make sure that, hey, there's really good one that we should offer or that we should talk about. So it's not just to throw out a Groupon. But yeah, they're got to do a research first. But I mean, there is one or two that I can tell you about today, which I love. I love doing that. There is, if you're interested, like bagels, sandwiches, and so forth, you could always go to Tangletown and have a really good sandwich. So, Get Your Groupon is coming up. So on this one, this is the St. Paul Bagelry, and you're looking at getting 45% off, well, at least up to 45% off on this deal. So there are 2 vouchers each that are for $10 worth of bagels and sandwiches. So for $11, you're basically getting a $20 offering, if you would, which is about 45% off. But that's for Minneapolis. So the Minneapolis, where is the Minneapolis one? Again, Tangletown. So 5426 Nicollet Avenue South. That's Minneapolis, 55419. There's also one in St. Paul, but unfortunately, that one sold out. And that one, yeah, those were some great deals, but there is still this one that is available in Minneapolis. And as we know, Minneapolis and St. Paul are not that far apart. I'm not even going to pretend. I'm going to be real with you all. Coming to Minneapolis from Los Angeles, for folks to say, oh yeah, that's 10 minutes down the road, and I'm still driving maybe another 20 minutes, even though you said that, I've never understood that. I really don't. I really haven't. Yeah, when you're being from Los Angeles and you're saying, hey, how far is Los Angeles? Or I'm just gonna put it out there, Compton from Long Beach or whatever, and you're like, that's about a 20-minute drive. They're like, really? I thought it was just like right down. No. Unlike here, I'm gonna tell you specifically, yeah. 15, 20-minute drive. Uh, but Minneapolis and St. Paul, they honestly are not far apart. I mean, yeah, the distance is not one that it's like, oh gosh, we've got to get on the freeway and drive over. Or people say, oh, we got to drive across the river. That's a term that I'm finding some comedy in, if you would. But again, anyway, back to the actual Groupon itself. St. Paul Bagelry, the Minneapolis, the voucher for Minneapolis. Again, you're going to get 2 vouchers, each of them worth $10 for burgers, excuse me, for bagels and sandwiches. So you're paying $11. Come on now, $10. I mean, that's like 2 meals, you know, at least. 2 for 1, because I don't believe that there is a sandwich that's on this menu that is $10. But if you are interested to find out more, go to www.stp, well, stpaulbagelry.com. So stpaulbagelry.com. And you can check out their menu, all the different items that they offer. And they're really popular too. So I like the fact that you could actually be online and specifically order something, and then when you get there, it's ready for you. So yeah, St. Paul Bagelry. There's your get your Groupon. Get your Groupon. Get your Groupon. This has been really fun. It always is. Even if I'm in the booth by myself, or if I have guests joining me. You know me, I'm crazy. I'm gonna make it fun. Might be a little cuckoo a little bit sometimes. Not always. Talking about food we could go on, and the various types and whatever. And even though we didn't talk about specific restaurants and so forth, I did bring you 1 or 2 items for you to think about in the upcoming few days. But what we have to look forward to is the new year. And we are coming to the top of the hour and the end of my show. Again, I wanted to reflect a little bit on the past year, all the different opportunities that were basically I had the chance to participate in, new ventures. Gosh, I am writing for a community newspaper as a food columnist. I have a food show that has the support of so many friends and audience, listeners, always encouraging. I am thankful for the people that I work with and volunteer with here at WEQY, meeting new people on the east side, people that are interested in the community, events such as foodies at the fair that have occurred. Hopefully next year, I'll say knock on wood, I'll have another Foodies at the Fair, and hopefully I'll be able to say that I've met you personally out there, and we could talk about the different types of foods that are coming up. But even prior to that, there are so many other events that are coming up. The Food and Wine experience that's going to be happening in March. Other, new restaurants that are going to be opening for the year. Again, there's just so many different things that I'm thankful has happened for the past year, and thankful that I still have the opportunity to bring more information and talk about food and new restaurants and things for the upcoming year as well. So once again, we come to the end of the show, But again, I want to thank you so much for being the listeners that you are and being so supportive. And as I end every show, I want to thank you, but also encourage you to never let anyone tell you what type of foodie to be, because really, what is it? It is all about the food.